Hi, do you want to learn another way to color with your Stampin' Write markers? Welcome to Stampin' with Diane Coloring with Markers episode. I'm Diane Evans. I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up Demonstrator. I did this card, and can you believe that all of this card is colored with these Stampin' Write markers? So I want to show you, because it's so easy to do, but I want you to be forced to actually use those markers that you've got sitting there away in your cupboard, and you just can't think of different ways to do it. So we're going to make this card. So what we're going to need is, we need the Rooted in Nature stamp set. I've also used this Here's a Card stamp set. I wanted a birthday card. I've got a couple of birthdays coming up, and I want to use this. I also used the Nature's Roots framelets, and I used this one and this one on this card. So I want to show you the cardstock that you need. We'll put this off to the side so you can have an easy reference there. So with the card, I have a piece of crumb cake, and it's cut 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. We are going to take this and fold into the mountain. So the mountain is the part that comes up here. And then we're just going to take our scorer and give a nice crisp fold on there. You also have a piece that we're going to put on the front of Very Vanilla, and it's 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. I also have another piece in here that is 1 by 3 3/4, and I have a piece here that's cut at 3.5 by 4.5. So what I've done with that piece there is I have cut 2 of the trees out from the framelets and also the little sprig there. And I've already done that for you. So we're going to need that as well. So let's show you how this technique works. It's really so simple. And just think of it this way. You can actually substitute your markers for an awful lot of ink pads. So if all of a sudden you're going along and you say, darn, I wish I had that Mossy Meadow marker, stamp pad, but you have the marker, you can use this as well. So let's start with the rings that cut in the trunk itself. So I went and I took crumb cake, and I took the wide end of the crumb cake. And when you're coloring on rubber, you always want to color off to the side of the pen. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, yep, that's easy enough. I could probably use my my stamp pad. Well, what happens if you don't have that stamp pad, or you left that stamp pad somewhere else, but you got your markers at home? I don't think our markers are used as much as we actually can use them. So it's kind of nice when you can get back to using some of that stuff that we have in our craft sale, or craft sale in our studio. Well, that was silly, wasn't it? And then I am going to take the Early Espresso, and on this trunk piece whoops, we don't want the thin end. That's not going to work. Well, it would, but we'd be here all day. So what you want to do is, you can see where the rings are actually on this stamp set. This is a distinctive stamp set, and it just gives that beautiful effect on there. So it's colored like that. I just want to make sure I've got it. Now, I'm going to do a big no-no here, but I don't want it quite that dark, and I don't want it to be so stark, that point. So what I did was I actually just took my finger and did that. Well, you can see that I did that. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to huff on this, and we're going to put it on there. Now, what I mean by huffing is you're just going to blow onto your stamp or onto your stamp set, but you want to put the moisture of your breath onto the stamp set, because this has been a while since I've colored this, right? So let's do that. Now, just going to put this on here like so. Just press down, let the paper absorb it. And there we go there. Now I think I've got something underneath this that it did that. But anyways. And then what we're going to do is we are going to then, I want to put the sentiment on. And again, I'm using this from the stamp set. Here's a card, and it's a happy birthday. I'm going to use the Mossy Meadow. If you want, what we could do is we could do happy in one color and birthday in the other. But because this is quite a dark shade, I did try that. And because it's a dark shade, I was going to put crumb cake on there. It didn't really turn out too well, but I'm going to do it this way. And I'm going to huff on this and put this down here. Okay. And then we are going to stamp these. Now, everybody that's been around me an awful lot knows how much I love my Stamparatus. So I'm also showing you that you can use these markers in your Stamparatus, and it's quite easy to get that effect. So what I did was like I said, I cut out these 2 tree things. Let's put one in there, and let's put this sprig in there. Again, we're going to start with the light color, the crumb cake, for the trunk of the tree. And we're also going to put that on the sprig part over here as well. Take the Mossy Meadow and color like this. Kind of hard to see that when you're working. There we go. Bring that over there a little bit there too. Now, another thing that you could do is you could actually do 2 colors of green on here, which originally was what I was going to do, and then I completely forgot about it. But anyways, if you did, remember you would start with the lighter color first and then the darker colors. So we would start, a really good color that goes along with this would be the old olive, so that would work out quite well with that. Okay, so it looks like I've got that covered. So again, I'm just going to take this up and huff it. And then we're just going to go down and stamp that as well. Now, can you think of other stamp sets that you could possibly do this with, that it would work with? If you can, and other things that you could do this technique with, if you can, please comment down below. And I want to know if this video has actually given you another reason to pull out and dust off those markers, because there's nothing worse than having something in your supplies and you haven't used them, right? So there, we've got 1 tree done, and we've got these sprigs done. Now we just need to go in ahead and quickly do this one. Pull this back over. I'm not even going to bother coloring, cleaning that off. I can see where my crumb cake goes. It doesn't look like it's going to get contaminated there at all. Because the one thing about this, they may be juicy, but they don't. It's not like a stamp pad where it spreads a little bit and goes into different areas. Okay, Mossy Meadow again. Take the end of it, or the side of it is best. And then, yeah, I'd really like to hear what you know, if you would be doing something with this tech. Why did I color that? I didn't need to. I've already done that, right? Okay, there we go there. And we're going to huff on this again. Now, you can see I haven't got it colored that much. I can, just like you can on a Stamparatus, I can go ahead and recolor that. And I think because I'm going to recolor it, I think I'm going to do most of it, but I'll go over it more quickly. I'm not going to go back in and do the trunk. I don't think that's necessary. And it's really this side that I want it done. So let's see what that looks like, huh? That looks not too bad. Okay, and I'll put that aside. Now we can just go ahead and just quickly finish off this card. So I said all the coloring was done with the markers. I like to have a bit of shadowing, or, you know, making it a little dirty. And this is a masculine card. So I'm going to take in one of my older, newer stamp pads. And I'm going to just take a sponge, and I'm just going to sponge around the edge. I am quite subtle when I do my sponging. I'm not a heavy sponger. So I use an ink pad that isn't that inked up. I even like the real old ones that were the linen type to do my sponging. But you can see I'm not real heavy with my sponging. And a lot of times you could sponge like this. I just like doing it this way because I get it done a lot quicker. So, and it goes in a little bit further as well. So. Oops. So, and you know, if you wanted a little darker sponging, what you could do is just add re-anchor to your stamp pad, and you would have darker sponging. So I'll take the sentiment. I'm just going to use a dimensional, and I didn't bring over my little dimensional, so we're going to have to make do with this one. So just put one on either end. If you want, you could put one in the middle. I tend not to, and it's just because Canada Post is so picky sometimes when you go to get your to send stuff in the mail, that they try to charge you extra for that sort of stuff. Also, another thing, when I do put stuff through Canada Post, I tend to put my dimensionals and spots in different spots around the card so that they're not all in one area. Now, this one I'm going to put right down directly onto the card base because I want there to be some dimension. I'm going to have it coming up fairly tall here. This one I'm going to put the dimensionals on here. Now, it would have been easier had I brought the little dimensionals, but no worries. We've got all these spare pieces here, and we don't waste any of this, right? So let's just use my ribbon scissors again. There I go. And I'm just going to put this in there, and then I want a little tiny one to put down on the bottom of the trunk. Just put that right there. Now, hopefully that doesn't show through. Let's just check that. If it does, we can just go and trim that off. But shame on me, I don't have my proper scissors right here. And we'll just take this off. Say, I really want you to tell me where you've thought and what other stamp sets that you could actually do this on. This really is annoying because that should be down there. That about right. Let's see. We'll use our grid paper to make sure, but that's really not. There we go. That's better. And then I'm just going to put this one here. We're actually going to bring it down a little bit more down there. That dimension. And I used about 12 inches of the linen thread. So all I did was just wrap it around here twice. Turn that off. And then just bring this around and just tie it in a knot. Seem to be all fingers today. Need an extra hand, that's for sure. Just to put the fingers on there. Let's see if I get this tight. If not, I can show you a trick on how to get it so that it's tight. But it is not working right. Okay, there we go. Now, is that tight? No, it's not. So I can show you a trick that you can do. I want to pull this down so it's a little bit further down onto the card. Tuck that part under because I don't want it flying all over the place. So say if you have this where it's loose and because you didn't do a good job tying it, all you have to do is go onto the back, and I take my tear and tape ribbon, or tear and tape, and I just put a piece there. I pull this tight and put another piece right there. And yeah, it's a little loose there, but I'm not going to worry about it because it's going to be the back of the card. And then I'm going to just use my snail and do the rest of the card. Just take this off of here as well. Like that. See how tight that got there? Tighter than it got there. And then we're just going to put this on the front of the card. Oops, it's not even straight. There we go. And let's put this, I want this down. Let's see, there we go. I'm going to give it a bit of a haircut. And I've got this little piece still over here. There we go. And we'll put this underneath there. Okay, so there you have it. A card made with just the markers and a tiny bit of sponging. So please go below. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down. Leave me a comment or even ask a question. I'll be sure to respond to you. I would love to have it that you would subscribe to my YouTube video. So down below, what you can do is you can press subscribe. If you want to be notified every time I put a video on my YouTube channel, you can just click that little bell that's right beside there, and it'll ding every time that I post a video. If you're watching from my blog, all you need to do is just watch from the YouTube, or just click onto the YouTube to watch it in the YouTube. So if you have any other ideas, or you want to see some other ideas, I do post lots of different things on my blog or on my Facebook page or my group. I will be putting those links down below, and also on my blog I'll have the measurements listed again. And a huge thanks for watching. Bye for now.